By 1944, the massive warship floating off the coast of Europe was considered a dinosaur. To the high command, she was nothing more than a slow, outdated relic destined for the scrap heap. Her armor was worn, her machinery groaned under pressure, and her guns were deemed far past their prime. The enemy didn't even consider her a top-tier threat. To understand how an obsolete vessel achieved the impossible, you have to look at her design. Built during an entirely different era of warfare, she was slow compared to the sleek, modern battlecruisers tearing across the Pacific. Her main batteries were massive, yes, but heavy naval doctrine had shifted toward aircraft carriers. In fact, just months prior to her finest hour, inspectors openly questioned if her barrels could even survive sustained firing without fracturing completely under the pressure. She was a floating contradiction, too heavy to turn quickly, too old to run, and seemingly too outdated to matter. They were wrong, because what this tired warship was about to do over the next 24 hours would completely rewrite the rules of naval artillery, and save thousands of lives in the process. Came the directive that changed everything. The Allied ground forces were pinned down on a heavily fortified coastline, trapped under a brutal curtain of artillery fire originating miles behind enemy lines. Standard field artillery couldn't reach them. Air support was completely grounded due to zero visibility weather. The only option left was to send in the old lady, instructed to push her deep into hazardous, shallow coastal waters where a single sea mine would instantly tear her hull in half. She crept into position under the cover of dense fog. At exactly 500 hours, her seasoned crew pushed the vintage machinery to its absolute breaking point. The order was given to fire. What followed wasn't just a standard bombardment. It was a masterclass in long-range precision. Firing blindly through thick fog, guided solely by frantic coordinates radioed in by spotters on the ground, the ship's massive guns unleashed a relentless barrage. The shells traveled a staggering 15 miles inland, flying over coastal ridges to plunge directly onto entrenched enemy strongholds with terrifying accuracy. The concussive force was so violent that it literally shattered concrete bunkers that had been built to withstand direct aerial bombing. For hours, the old barrels held together, raining down thousands of tons of steel until the enemy columns were forced into a chaotic retreat. When the smoke finally cleared, the outmatched ground forces couldn't believe their eyes. A single, forgotten warship had single-handedly cleared the path to victory using artillery pieces the military had wanted to decommission years before. She proved that true power isn't always about having the newest technology, it's about the relentless execution of raw firepower when the stakes are at their highest.